All right. So, um, I wanted to create a video that went over how to connect multiple controllers in a couch co op style game. Um, I've done this in the past in different versions of Unity, and apparently the version that we're using in class, the 6000.0.55, is different than uh, the last time I did it. So I apologize. This video has taken a while to get out to everyone, um, but finally got it. At least a workaround. Because the normal way that I've done this in the past that makes it really easy does not work in this version. Um, and I've seen some videos that do kind of more the way I've done it in the past for 6000.1. So, depending upon the version that you choose, this may or may not work. You might have to do some, or you might just have to go in and do some modifications. So, the way I was finally able to do it, normally I would just step you through this entire process one step at a time. It was so convoluted and all over the place that um, we're just going to kind of step through it. So, I created a brand new Unity environment, um, added a plane for a place to move the player around, and then I added a empty game object and called it player manager. And in here, I've got a player manager script, and all this is doing, let me open that up. All this script is doing is just keeping track of the number of players. So it's uh, allowing for the system to check and see how many players have already joined and return that value back out. And then also, when a player joins, add a player to the number of players. So that's all that that is doing currently. There is more that it could do, but that's all I've got set up in there at the moment for that script. And then in here we have also um, our player input manager. This is an add component. There are multiple ways to do it um, with joining players when buttons are pressed or action is triggered. Um, those are styles that I've done in the past. Um, for this one to make it actually work, I needed to join players manually. So that's what this video is going to be based off of, is how to join players manually. You do still want this here um, because if you did want to do a split screen, you could enable that here. I am going to do a video, another video, next video. One of the next videos. Let's just put it that way. I've got multiple videos planned for y'all, but on a single camera setup where the camera will rise and lower depending upon the distance between the two players. So we'll cover that in a different video. So anyway, so we've got the player input manager here, and then I have my player join script. So I'm joining players manually. So I have a script. Let's bring that over. Player join. And in this script, this is where we're adding the players to the game. And this was the only way I could get it to work so I could get it to work to load multiple players in. The trick became connecting through the controller scheme for that player and having that player be controlled just by that controller. So I could have it start up with the gamepad, and then all of a sudden load another player, and then no controllers worked, either keyboard or the the gamepad would no longer still function. So, so this is the script that I created from that. I've added to it using system.collections.generic and using Unity engine.input system. So both of these are required for the script. I start out by creating a list of gamepads so that, because I've set this up to run with 2 gamepads. So yeah, so I've created that there. So I've got multiple gamepads. You need to know which ones are connected. So running that through a list. I've created a serialized field of game objects that have the player prefabs for keyboard, gamepad 1, gamepad 2, and for the Arduino. I left my Arduino stuff on campus, so I am home with sick family, so I was not able to get into campus to grab it. So when I get onto campus again, I'm going to stop in and grab my Arduinos. I have found there's supposedly a way to basically cast the Arduino input to the new input system. So just automatically kind of casting from that. So as long as that does work, keep your eye out. We'll have a video open for that as well. Even without that, this is still going to work in a different format. I just don't have a way of testing it at the moment. And then a series of booleans has gamepad 1 joined, 2 joined, the keyboard joined, or the Arduino joined, because only one of each can join. For this, I have it where I'm going through and just seeing if the Arduino is trying to join, handled through this public function. And so if that's true, then it's going to load in the Arduino player. And then I've got a private integer here that's tracking the gamepad reference. So since we just are going to have up to 2 gamepad players, need to know which one is being referenced. So I've got that here. On start, I am filling in our list of gamepads with all connected gamepads through the code here. And I'm going to post this code, so don't worry. You don't need to type along at this point. You can copy and paste. And then in the update, if we don't currently have a keyboard, but we have a keyboard press, go ahead and add that. And then the tricky one was the gamepads. So we're running for each gamepad in the connected gamepads list. We're running that through. We're going ahead and connecting the gamepad reference to the index of the gamepad that is being manipulated at that moment in time. Then I've got it connected to check and see if the button south, which is A, was pressed during the frame. If it was pressed, then we're going to go through the reference, right? So we know now which one it was. So if it was the first gamepad, it's going to be case 0. We're going to first check to see if gamepad 1 is joined, because we don't want gamepad 1 to join 5 times. So we have that checking there. If it hasn't, we're instantiating the player prefab gamepad 1 object. And then we're setting the has gamepad 1 joined to true, so this won't be able to run again. And then if it's referenced 1 or the second controller, we run the same thing, but we're instantiating player prefab gamepad 2. So that's going to allow that to be tracked naturally. So if you have only one controller plugged in, like I currently do, or you have 2, or you have 5, right, it's going to track which one is doing what. And then for the keyboard, we're checking to see if the space key was pressed in this frame and that has keyboard joined as false. And then we're instantiating the keyboard. And then same thing for the Arduino. This one is where I was going to just check if Arduino is trying to join and it hasn't joined yet. All right, so that is all there in that one. We want to make sure that we connect through are we set up the serialized field of the game objects. So we want to make sure we connect those through. And so what I did is I created um, multiple just spheres for players. Uh, there it is in all its glory. This is the player Arduino. And then onto the players, I've added the player input and then a co-op player controller. So what I've got here for player input, this is obviously using the input actions. So I've created a input action system. We've got Arduino underscore ISI. I've got gamepad 1 underscore ISI 2 and keyboard. And you'll see if I bring up Arduino. Currently, Arduino is just connected through keyboard. The control scheme is the Arduino control scheme. Player is the action map is the player Arduino, and then currently I am only caring about movement. We can dive into all the other actions, jumping, shooting, backflips, whatever it is, at a later date. But this at least brings those ones in. Got our move action. It's using a 2D vector. The action type is value and vector 2s. Same thing here with gamepad 1. This is just going to the left stick. Vector 2s. Keyboard is just using move with the 2D vector and WASDA. So you can see that. So what I've done then is on the player. So I have a player for each. You get player Arduino, gamepad 1, gamepad 2, keyboard. So for Arduino, the action is the Arduino, the default scheme is the Arduino control scheme, and then default map player Arduino. And this is the same basic things just dialed in for each one. So gamepad 1 scheme, player GP1 for 2, and then for keypad or keyboard. And then with that set up, we've got the co-op player controller. So with this, let me open up that code. So with this, I am bringing in, we need to have the using Unity Engine input system. I've created a serialized field, 2 of them. One of them is input action assets. So the input action asset is the actual, the ISAs here. So Arduino ISA, gamepad 1, 2, and keyboard ISAs. Those are going to be what is up here in our actions for the player input. So we want to have a reference for those. We want to know what player number we are. We're going to have a reference to, or I'm getting a reference to the player manager. I'm also bringing in, because we're doing the movement, I want to be able to check movement. So a serialized field that's the input action references, and I've labeled them movement, keyboard, movement, gamepad 1, 2, and Arduino. And then because of movement, we're going to have a private vector 3 movement direction, and then I've set in here a float for move speed and rotation speed, which we'll get to that portion at the end. So I've set this up instead of on start, on enable. So when the player gets added and instantiated to the scene, we want to first get the reference to the player manager, right? This is where we are just tracking the number of players. So we go ahead and get that. And then we're going to place the player. We'll come back to the update and the on move. So under place player, it's a private void. I'm getting the player number, which it doesn't have to be the +1. I've just done that to make my life easier, to know which player I'm dealing with. So it's getting the reference and seeing how many players are in there total, and then just adding 1 to it, because obviously we start at 0. Click on the right run. Number of players equals 0. So for that first player that's going to join, we add the 1, so it makes it 1 to player 1. So then I'm using a switch statement of player number. So in the case of player 1, I'm going ahead and actually changing the name of the game object to player 1. Doing the same thing for players 2, 3, and 4. Then to make it obvious and easy to spot, I'm changing the color of it. For player 1, it's red, blue, black, and green. Setting them to different positions so that they're not just starting at the same exact position. And then to the player manager, I'm adding a player to the player count here so that that gets updated. So then when the next one is clicked, it will know that this is now player 2, now player 3 or 4, whatever, however many players you're supporting. And then once that is in place, on the update, we're going ahead and dealing with movement, which is all tied to the on move. I can finally actually take out this debug line at the moment. At least it wasn't one of my swearing ones. And so I'm checking to see if what is causing the movement, which is our player input, is it the keyboard player, the gamepad 1 player, gamepad 2 player, or the Arduino player? Which one is it? And then I'm connecting that through to the reference, the correct reference, and setting that to the move direction. And so then the move direction is a part of, as you can see here in the update, the transform translate and the transform rotate. So with this, once the player is in place, I can track and just see what one is being input. So they only have to use the script once rather than having to rewrite it for each one of the players. You could do that. It would obviously be a little cleaner, but this way I can just attach it to all of them without an issue. And so with that, when I bring in a player, it's going to change it to player 1 and allow me to control both at the same time. So let's just show that working. I'm going to delete the Arduino player because that will won't get brought in off the start. So we'll go ahead and hit play. I'm going to first hit the space bar, which brings in red, which is player 1, and hitting my WASD, I can move it around. And now on my gamepad, I'm hitting the south button, sets it to player 2, sets it blue, and now with my gamepad, I can be controlling that one, and my keyboard, I can be doing that both at the same time if I don't fall off the screen because I'm trying to do both. So this now makes it so that 2 players or more, in this situation it could be up to 4 based on this one, can be in the environment and their controllers are connected to their player. So I hope this helps. This is definitely was a lot trickier than I was expecting. So once again, I'm going to add these files up there for you to have reference to them. Remember that this is for specifically Unity 6, so 6000.0.55, which is on all the lab computers. Depending upon which version y'all chose, mileage may vary with this. But this should at least help you get a little bit further along in that direction. Any questions about this, let me know. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.